Hi, if you'd like to find out about a military concept that has been known for thousands of years and how it impacts or can impact your relationship, stay tuned to find out a little bit more. My name is Dustin York. I'm a registered mental health counselor intern in the state of Florida. And while I am a therapist, I am not your therapist. So if you find yourself stuck on any of the concepts that are presented here, I would invite you to find a therapist that can help you work through it. I'm going to be discussing today just an idea or a concept from what has been known in the military for a long time. As somebody who is a Marine and now is a mental health counselor, I see this play out regularly with individuals in therapy as well as couples. The other thing I'm going to do is just provide a few examples and provide some links below to a couple of other videos that therapists and a psychologist have made that can help you find success in this area. And so what I'm really hoping to do here for you is help reframe this concept in a way that helps you take a different perspective in the way that you view it. And I don't want people to just check out, but the idea that I'm talking about is related to communication. If you're also interested in a biblical view of this, later on in this video, and I'll try to take it in there so you can just go to that part, I'm going to talk about an integration with a biblical worldview as well. So one of the things that has been known for centuries, if not thousands of years, is that if we can disrupt an opponent's communication or the enemy's communication, we can destroy that enemy. And I'm going to provide just a quick example, two examples here. First one is Vietnam. A lot of people know this. Somebody was running around with an antenna on their back. Chances were, once the firefight started, that person was not going to live for very long. A lot of people try to take out the communications person because that is your lifeline. Something recently that occurred in the news is we heard about an organization that had their pagers and handheld radios targeted. And what happened was pagers started blowing up on people's waists and people's hands, as well as radios blowing up in their hands and next to their heads. Now, I know this is pretty brutal to talk about, but the concept here is that if you destroy the communication of an opponent, you can easily destroy that opponent, leave them fragmented. And so I bring this up because this is one of the things that I see happen regularly in relationships. People say, oh yeah, I know I need to communicate better, or our communication is not so great. And we just kind of dismiss it as, hey, communication is not so great. But my argument would be is that almost every other problem that somebody would run into in a relationship, whether it be cheating, whether it be doing things that the other spouse does not appreciate or the other person in the other partner in the couple doesn't appreciate, it's because something was foregone in communication or was assumed understood in communication. And what happens is we find ourselves almost talking past each other. So what occurs is, as we're talking past each other, we're actually spending our time in what I like to refer to, and actually a lot of therapists will talk about, is we have content. Deeper than that, we have feelings. And then below that, we have what does it actually mean to us? And to provide a quick example of this, say a couple wants to go on a vacation. One of the people wants to go on a cruise, and the other person in the relationship doesn't want to go on a cruise. And so the person that wants to go on a cruise says, well, I really want to go on a cruise because we get the food and we have our room and we get to be on a boat and it's awesome. And the other person says, well, I don't want to go on a cruise. Cruises just feel like a waste of time. And so what we're doing there is they're both just really talking about content, and they're not talking about feelings. And so the person that was saying they wanted to go on a cruise might take the time to go a little deeper and share feelings around it. I feel like it's a great way to relax and unwind because my job is stressful, and it also will mean to me that I will have more one-on-one time with you as a person that I care about. But because they don't convey that and they just talk about the details, the person misses that other information that's going on. And that other person on the other side may be thinking, well, I don't want to spend too much money on a vacation. It leaves me worried about whether we'll be able to pay our other bills, and a vacation like that will create stress and anxiety for me. but they don't respond with that. They just shoot the idea down in the details up here without providing their feeling and meaning of, hey, we could run into problems here. There's a fear for me that I would really like to acknowledge. So one of the ways that we can battle this is by using reflective listening. And I'm going to provide a link to a reflective listening video below. But it's where we take the time to hear what the other person is saying and just reflect back what we're hearing and ask deeper, open-ended questions. Well, why is it that you think that's important? What about that is going to be positive for you? What about this am I maybe not understanding? As we ask those open questions to our significant other, it gives them the opportunity to provide more feedback, more details on maybe those feelings and the meaning behind that trip. Whereas if we go in and we shoot it down, we're not going to have an opportunity to have that discussion. Another important thing is going to be I statements or feeling statements. When we use these types of statements, we don't make it about the other person, and we don't necessarily make it about the thing that that person is talking about, but we make it about ourselves. I have concerns over doing a trip like that because I worry about bills. That would be a feeling statement, rather than saying, you always want to do stuff that's too expensive, which could be taken as an attack, and the person doesn't really feel like even responding or doing reflective listening at that point. So a lot of times we end up talking past each other and go into these states where we're arguing about the stuff, and we're really not getting to the details of what's going on for us. And communicating in this fashion gets a lot of people upset. And, well, what happens is relationships decline, and sometimes they end, or people become roommates, and basically we see an end, right, or a loss. And this correlates directly to that concept I talked to before about the military. If you're not communicating effectively, you will eventually crash and burn. The next thing I wanted to kind of bring up is a biblical worldview on this concept, and show people that there's a way to integrate this with biblical worldview and Christianity. So I find oftentimes when I'm talking with people and they're struggling, they go, hey, I'm talking, or one spouse says, the other person, they don't talk. And the other spouse says, well, they don't listen to me. And what happens is we're spending our time in the content and we're not getting into that feeling and meaning. And so what happens is basically we fill in the blanks of what the feeling and the meaning are without asking the person what the feeling and meaning is. And so when this occurs, I'll be very honest with you, I feel like this is a place where the enemy goes in and just grabs that thread and tugs on somebody's insecurity, concerns, or their ability to let their imagination run into a place that may not even truly understand the heart or the intent of their partner. And when this occurs, we escalate and we end up disconnected. And one of the things that the enemy wants more than anything is for couples to be disconnected. Because if you're disconnected from each other, you're probably not mentally in a place where you can connect effectively with God. So I would challenge people that are, whether you're at this far along in the video and you're not a Christian or you are, is really what this is the enemy using an age-old, proven method of damaging communication to allow an opponent to crash and burn. And the cool part about this is you're provided an invitation every time it happens. Because when you're starting to talk to somebody and your gut kicks in and you go, well, I don't want to do that, and you have feelings and meaning behind why you don't want to do that, or you find yourself thinking, well, my spouse, my partner, this other person, they believe X, that is an invitation for you from the enemy to actually have that communication with each other and say, you know what, my gut is giving me this feeling that things are going a little sideways. I want to check in and make sure I truly understand the intent of my partner. So you can use those videos below that talk about reflective listening and feeling statements or I statements, and work on creating communication patterns that bring you to a better place with your partner or your spouse. So I would encourage people to give that a try. I would also say, if you're struggling in this area, I know I said it at the beginning of the video, this is not something that's a really easy concept to work out. Find yourself a therapist that works with couples, or a marriage and family therapist that works with couples, and see if they can help you as a moderator or a referee, work through some of these painful discussions, show you a pattern that works, and help improve your communication so that you can grow closer together. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.